Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Wherever you are in the world, thank you for making the time to connect to the World Power to X Summit 2020. I am Ayman Sharkawi. I have the pleasure and honor of working at the Mohammed VI Foundation for Environmental Protection, and now will be the moderator for this summit. To get us started, we have a lovely video to show you.
Depuis 2009, le Maroc a fait de grandes avancées en termes de production et utilisation des énergies renouvelables. Aujourd'hui, et pour renforcer cette vision, le Maroc s'est lancé un nouveau défi. Déployer les applications à base d'hydrogène vert, avec comme objectif l'accroissement du taux de pénétration des énergies renouvelables dans le réseau électrique, mais aussi exploiter le potentiel d'une industrie chimique verte à haute valeur ajoutée, ayant comme précurseur le vecteur d'énergie. L'hydrogène est l'élément chimique le plus abondant de l'univers. La molécule de dihydrogène, composée de deux atomes d'hydrogène, H2, est cependant rare à l'état naturel. Il se trouve le plus souvent associé à d'autres éléments comme dans l'eau, les hydrocarbures, pétrole et gaz naturel ou la matière vivante. Pour le produire, il est donc nécessaire d'avoir une source d'hydrogène, gaz naturel, eau ou autre, et une source d'énergie. Actuellement, l'essentiel de l'hydrogène, 95%, est produit à partir de combustibles fossiles, grâce au procédé chimique de vapeur-formage du méthane. Cependant, le Maroc ambitionne d'assurer une production d'hydrogène vert, durable, à grande échelle, à prix compétitif, tout en ayant un impact environnemental réduit. Dans ce sens, on envisage d'autres méthodes de production plus propres, comme l'électrolyse de l'eau à basse température. Il s'agit de la dissociation de la molécule d'eau en utilisant une énergie électrique renouvelable, principalement solaire ou éolienne. On qualifie de vert l'hydrogène ainsi produit. Cet hydrogène peut servir comme un moyen pour stocker l'électricité renouvelable variable, pour l'utiliser le soir ou quand il n'y a pas de vent. Pour produire de l'électricité, de la chaleur et la climatisation dans les bâtiments, pour alimenter des véhicules à hydrogène thermique ou à pile combustible, ainsi que dans diverses applications industrielles. Une autre voie permet la valorisation de l'hydrogène vert en d'autres molécules primaires très demandées comme matière première dans l'industrie. On trouve par exemple l'ammoniac, qui est utilisé dans l'industrie des engrais, et le méthanol, très utilisé dans l'industrie pétrochimique. Ces matières premières, vertes également, peuvent être stockées et transportées, puis utilisées dans des pays pionniers dans la lutte du changement climatique, souhaitant réduire drastiquement leurs émissions de gaz à effet de serre. Cette voie de valorisation de l'hydrogène verte est communément appelée filière des Power to X. Aujourd'hui, le ministère de l'Énergie, des Mines et de l'Environnement vise à accélérer le déploiement de cette nouvelle filière, notamment à travers la création d'une commission nationale de l'hydrogène en 2019. Cette commission, composée de plusieurs acteurs publics et privés, mandatés par le ministère, est en charge de mettre en place la feuille de route de l'hydrogène au Maroc. À ce titre, la commission mènera des études approfondies sur le sujet et permettra de créer les synergies nécessaires parmi les acteurs nationaux afin de faire émerger un écosystème industriel national des Power to X courant de la prochaine décennie.
We hope you found this video very instructive. To welcome all of us in this World Power to X Summit 2020, I have the pleasure of leaving the floor to the Director General of the Research Institute on Solar Energy and New Energies, IRESEN, Mr. Badr Iken.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ayman Sharkawi. Thanks again for you and for the Mohammed VI Foundation for Environmental Protection to support us to moderate the World Power to X Summit. Thank you very much. Excellencies, dear colleagues and friends, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to sincerely welcome you to this first edition of the World Power to X Summit, organized virtually by UM6P and IRESEN. The World Power to X Summit aims to gather all stakeholders interested in the topic of green hydrogen and its applications: policymakers, regulators, industry, technology and service providers, project developers, as well as researchers, students, and innovators. Indeed, this molecule is not a silver bullet to our climate change crisis, but it can significantly contribute to a deep decarbonization of our economies through a variety of sector-coupled applications and end uses. With its huge potentials, its emerging economy, and its capability of performing sectorial master plans, the Kingdom of Morocco is decided to seize this opportunity to contribute not only as an industrial hub to produce and export green molecules, but also as a technological hub to adapt, test, qualify, and scale Power-to-X technologies together with its partners, especially Germany, which is the guest country of this first edition, as well as with Spain, Portugal, France, and other hydrogen game changers. Today, we're glad to have the participation of our energy minister, as well as our industry minister, among distinguished guests who will share with us the commitments, the ambitions, and the current progresses. With no doubt, international partnership is the key to the development of a green hydrogen market and economy to respond together to the main challenges of a large-scale deployment, such kind as maturity, durability, cost of technologies, the development of the market and the demand, and the preparation of the supply chains. Within this difficult COVID-19 pandemic situation, the international community did not give up and elaborated green recovery plans which represent today real opportunities to set up sustainable green hydrogen economies. But we cannot afford to forget the current lessons. We need to ensure more resilient territories and supply chains. And we might be able to do this through regional green hydrogen partnerships and alliances. This will allow to have a positive social economic impact and a sustainable growth. This cooperation must be oriented to the most essential factor of resilience, the human capital. We need more investment in training, capacity building, R&D, and innovation. In this context, we're very glad to announce that IRISEN is setting up the Green H2A, a research and test platform for Power-to-X, including different pilot projects to produce green ammonia, green methanol, and synthetic fuels with important partners, such kind as the Mohammed VI Polytechnic University, OCP, and Fraunhofer, with the strong support of the German government. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the World Power-to-X Summit aims to become a real crossroad for the green hydrogen community, and also a forum where all those visions, strategies, plans shall meet and work together, positioning Morocco and Africa as a strong partner to impulse an international green hydrogen market and to shape together the future of a healthier and cleaner world. And I would like now to give the floor to my dear friend and colleague and partner, Hisham Al-Habti, President of the Mohammed VI Polytechnic University.
Thank you, dear brother. Your Excellencies, dear Presidents and Directors, honorable audience. I'm very pleased to open today with Mr. Badr Iken the World Power-to-X Summit 2020, a high-level conference related to an important and sensitive subject on which the life of the future generations is dependent. One of the main missions that was given to UMCC is to bridge the gap between research and education institutions from one hand and industry from the other hand. This connection is key in transforming our economies in the African continent, and more particularly when it is related to energy. As part of this conference, UM6P is committed to play a leading role in promoting collaboration and networking, to developing research, education, and entrepreneurship in the different fields, including food energy. Our university is engaged in areas which are crucial for the sustainable economic development of our country and our African countries. And green hydrogen technologies and its applications are one. Energy independence, preservation of the environment, limitation of greenhouse gas emissions, and the fight against climate change are all topics that concern each and every one of us. And we at UMCP, we will make all necessary efforts to support activities and events that bring Morocco and the international community forward in this area. We believe at UMCP that the innovation process requires frequent and iterative interaction among innovative actors, in which universities, technology platforms, incubators, and private companies are concerned. For national policymakers, university and technology platform collaboration is a key component of the national innovation policy mix as the successful exploitation of R&D results in fundamentals for national competitiveness. For this reason, we initiated the Green Technology Park model with the aim to connect research to innovation. Indeed, UM6P, in collaboration with Erezen, are set to create the largest network of green innovation in Africa, starting with Green Energy Park and the Green and Smart Building Park in Ben Gurion, before extending to other African countries. These platforms are built around a central and strategic map addressing challenges and developing technology solutions for the Moroccan and African needs. They operate in the different fields of energy following multi-perspective approach and covering a variety of topics: digitalization, water management and resources, sustainable mobility and habitat, as well as energy storage and applied solutions for industry. The Green Energy Park is the first platform of this network. It has been inaugurated in 2017 by His Majesty the King. It is an 8-hectare area dedicated for research, testing, and training in the field of solar energy. UM6P and Erezen wish, through the Green and Smart Building Park, to capitalize on green building and architecture techniques, smart grids, and sustainable mobility by integrating new technologies, renewable energies, efficiency, and digitalization. Green and Smart Building Park also hosted on September 2019 the first edition of the Solar Decathlon Africa, one of the biggest student competitions worldwide, organized jointly with the US Energy Department. It has witnessed the participation of more than 1,000 students from more than 50 universities, where they had to construct 20 solar houses within 3 weeks. The concepts developed by the teams were quite interesting, showcasing industrial construction techniques and technology. Ladies and gentlemen, these are some examples to showcase our commitment to innovate and bring solutions to major problematic on which depend the future of young generations, along with the mission that was given to our university by His Majesty King Mohammed VI. We remain open to further collaborations with national and international contributors to reach together these objectives. Thank you for your attention.
Much appreciated. When it comes to shortening together the path power to X, it's beautiful to see already between the university and Erezen. We see such partnerships collaborating in order to make such a roadmap as concrete as possible. Having said that, you also mentioned that it is critical for this effort to inscribe itself towards sustainable growth. As such, we need to take into account not only the environmental aspect, but also the social and economic aspects. In this context, I'm particularly pleased to introduce the chairman of the high-level opening session. Indeed, Mr. Ahmed Rida Shami is the president of the Economic, Social and Environment Council of the Kingdom of Morocco. He brings a wealth of expertise, very much in the spirit of the various stakeholders you identified earlier, with the private sector experience, as well as a ministerial position, high-level diplomacy, and currently looking at the particularly critical and central council, which is of course, the environmental, myself coming from the environmental world, I tend to put environment first, but of course, all dimensions are at the same level. The Economic, Social and Environmental Council of Morocco, Mr. Ahmed Rida Shami, we are in your capable hands.
Pleasure to be here today with all of you. It's an honor, of course, to be the chairman of this opening session. So let me start first by welcoming the ministers that are with us today, Mr. Bah from the Minister of Energy in Morocco, Minister João Pedro Matos Fernandes from Portugal, and Secretary of State, Mr. Andreas Feist from Germany, as well as all the panelists and all the participants that are following us today virtually, from different countries of the world. C'est pour moi vraiment un grand honneur et un privilège de lancer cette première session de haut niveau sous le thème politique et réglementation, l'économie du Power to X, déclencheur d'une nouvelle Union Afrique-UE. Mesdames et messieurs, j'ai personnellement appris 2 termes techniques au cours des 12 derniers mois. Le premier, je m'en serais passé volontiers, c'est Covid-19. Le second me remplit d'espoir à chaque fois que j'y pense, c'est le Power to X. Le Power to X est notamment l'hydrogène vert, dont les coûts d'approvisionnement sont de plus en plus compétitifs, ouvre aujourd'hui des perspectives prometteuses et se positionne désormais comme une solution viable pour non seulement décarboner les économies pour protéger le climat, mais aussi assurer la compétitivité énergétique de demain. Il nécessite pour cela un effort national important et une montée en compétences rapide pour une industrialisation des procédés couplée d'un rapprochement avec des acteurs de référence internationale. Dans ce domaine, nous estimons que le Maroc est placé comme un des 5 pays à plus fort potentiel pour la production et l'export de molécules vertes, que ce soit l'hydrogène, l'ammoniac, le méthanol et bien d'autres. Le Maroc dispose en effet d'un potentiel en énergie éolienne et solaire exceptionnel qui le placerait, si l'exploitation en est faite, parmi les grands pays producteurs énergétiques au niveau du Venezuela et du Nigeria, vous m'avez bien entendu, au niveau du Venezuela et du Nigeria, avec une production équivalente à environ 1,5 million de barils par jour. Au-delà de la quantité, la qualité du gisement est aussi très importante à travers une disponibilité complémentaire du vent et du soleil qui représente un atout indéniable pour réduire l'effet d'intermittence. Mesdames et messieurs, le Conseil économique, social et environnemental s'est autosaisi de la question de la transition énergétique dans un avis publié en juin dernier intitulé « Accélérer la transition énergétique pour installer le Maroc dans la croissance verte », dans lequel nous avons démontré à travers une modélisation prospective que le Maroc peut devenir à terme un champion mondial dans le domaine énergétique. Le terme champion n'est pas abusif, car il s'agit clairement pour le Maroc de passer d'une logique de consommateur dépendant et soucieux de sa sécurité d'approvisionnement à celle d'un acteur important de la transition énergétique. Plus important encore, grâce à l'exploitation de manière économiquement viable, socialement juste et écologiquement respectueuse de son potentiel éolien et solaire, le Maroc peut donner du bien-être à ses citoyens au niveau du pouvoir d'achat, au niveau de la santé par exemple, apporter de la compétitivité à ses entreprises, adresser durablement le stress hydrique, gagner en indépendance énergétique et se positionner au cœur du partenariat économique euro-africain. Pour cela, une nouvelle stratégie énergétique devrait être planifiée de manière holistique et s'articuler autour de l'augmentation de la part des énergies renouvelables dans le mix énergétique, ce qui est déjà prévu d'ailleurs par la stratégie que mène le Royaume, que mène Monsieur le ministre Bah, de la maîtrise de la demande par la promotion de l'efficacité énergétique et de la production décentralisée, du développement de la mobilité durable et en particulier le transport collectif, du soutien de l'innovation et de l'appropriation technologique au service de l'intégration industrielle et enfin de l'émergence et du développement de filières du futur autour du Power to X. Dans ce domaine, justement, je me réjouis de l'accord signé entre le Maroc et l'Allemagne en juin dernier pour le développement de l'hydrogène vert, la création de la Comité national de l'hydrogène ainsi que les initiatives qui ont suivi. Ces actions vont clairement dans le sens des recommandations du CESE qui avait recommandé dans son rapport d'élaborer un programme Maroc Hydrogène Vert, incluant le développement de toutes les filières et opportunités pour l'industrie, l'électricité et le transport. Conscient de l'ampleur de la tâche qui attend le gouvernement marocain, le Conseil avait émis des recommandations concernant les filières de production d'ammoniac synthétique, de méthanol, de méthane, de gaz renouvelable, d'hydrogène vert et de capacité de stockage pour l'électricité verte, des recommandations sur les zones favorables d'implantation, notamment pour les filières qui nécessitent des sources potentielles de CO2, par exemple à proximité des cimentiers, notamment pour la production de méthanol et méthane, ou encore à proximité des industries qui consomment de l'hydrogène, comme l'OCP, les verreries, les fertilisants, la verrerie, la sidérurgie, etc. Nous avions émis des recommandations sur les infrastructures nécessaires, les ports, les pipelines, sur les avantages concurrentiels du Maroc, et nous avions recommandé de préparer dès maintenant les modalités des partenariats publics, des PPP, partenariats publics-privés, pour amorcer les investissements. Et enfin, nous avions émis aussi des recommandations sur le pilotage et l'opérationnalisation de ce programme. Mesdames et messieurs, le CESE, dans son rapport, a parfaitement pris conscience du fait que l'hydrogène et plus généralement le Power to X n'est pas une question uniquement marocaine. Ces enjeux sont mondiaux et doivent être traités en tant que tels. Nous devons inscrire toutes nos stratégies dans le cadre de nos deux espaces naturels, l'espace méditerranéen avec nos partenaires européens et l'espace africain, amené à devenir la locomotive économique du monde. Vous savez que sur le plan électrique, le Maroc bénéficie d'une interconnexion opérationnelle avec l'Espagne qui bénéficie aux deux pays et bientôt, j'espère, une avec le Portugal. Monsieur le ministre présent, il verra le clin d'œil. Aujourd'hui, la conjoncture est très favorable pour renforcer de tels échanges avec l'Europe et plusieurs opportunités nous sont offertes par les objectifs ambitieux du Green New Deal de l'Union européenne qui vise à atteindre une neutralité carbone en 2050, la décision de l'Union européenne d'augmenter la part des énergies renouvelables dans son mix électrique à 37% en 2030 et enfin l'engagement de l'Europe envers l'Afrique en faveur d'un déploiement et d'échanges accrus d'énergie durable et propre. Vis-à-vis de nos partenaires européens, tenant compte de tous ces éléments de contexte, le CESE avait ainsi recommandé dans son rapport en juin dernier de bâtir un partenariat stratégique nouveau dans le domaine du Power to X. Un tel partenariat fondé sur nos complémentarités en termes de ressources, de marché et de capacités technologiques est susceptible de générer de part et d'autre de la croissance, des emplois et un système énergétique durable. Les perspectives sont prometteuses dans le domaine de l'hydrogène vert, vecteur d'énergie et base de fabrication d'autres molécules. L'ammoniac vert, par exemple, sera clé pour de nombreuses industries et notamment celles des fertilisants. De même, le méthanol vert pourra servir pour synthétiser les matières plastiques, les peintures et les textiles, mais également pour la mobilité. Mesdames et messieurs, l'implication forte des gouvernements est cruciale pour la réussite de ce vaste chantier. Je remercie à ce titre la participation avec nous aujourd'hui. Malgré les contraintes imposées par la pandémie mondiale de la Covid-19, les hauts responsables du gouvernement fédéral allemand, du gouvernement du Portugal et de l'UE, ce qui témoigne de l'intérêt qu'ils portent à ce sujet. Ce sont les prémices d'une transformation de la géopolitique énergétique pour réussir le défi climatique qui nous menace. En effet, à un moment où la Covid-19 a créé une incertitude extraordinaire, les gouvernements ont une opportunité unique d'agir et de guider les actions des autres. Ils peuvent montrer la voie et apporter la vision stratégique, stimuler l'innovation, encourager les consommateurs vers des comportements plus respectueux de l'environnement. Ils peuvent envoyer des signaux et mettre en place les politiques publiques qui encouragent l'investissement privé dans la transition énergétique, tout en soutenant les communautés les plus affectées par ce changement climatique. Les transformations qui auront lieu au cours de la décennie qui commence, détermineront probablement l'avenir de nombreuses générations. J'espère que nous serons à la hauteur de cette responsabilité. Je vous remercie pour votre attention et je cède la parole à l'animateur pour la suite des interventions prévues. Je vais alors donner la parole en tant que chairman à M. Aziz Abbah, ministre de l'Énergie et des Mines du Royaume du Maroc. Sidi Aziz, marhaba.
Merci Sehmed, c'est un grand plaisir d'abord que tu présides ce panel et un grand plaisir de rencontrer pas mal d'amis, de collègues, de partenaires et plus particulièrement certains ministres, plus particulièrement de l'Allemagne, Portugal, bien sûr représentants de l'Union européenne pour qu'on puisse débattre ensemble pendant ce sommet africain sur l'hydrogène, les opportunités qui nous sont offertes par cette nouvelle dynamique dans le domaine de l'énergie. Le Maroc jouit de plusieurs atouts que nous avons grâce aux orientations royales mis au profit du développement durable de notre pays et de notre continent. Et il s'agit premièrement d'une stabilité politique et un partenariat avancé avec pas mal de pays, plus particulièrement avec l'Union européenne, un climat des affaires attractif et en réforme continue, un gisement d'énergie, des énergies renouvelables considérables avec une expérience reconnue à l'échelle internationale, en énergie renouvelable en particulier, d'une connectivité maritime, nous sommes classés par les top 20 parmi les 20 premiers pays en connectivité maritime, et d'une connectivité gazière et électrique plus particulièrement avec notre voisinage, l'Algérie et l'Europe, et nous ambitionnons donc de nous connecter davantage avec avec l'Afrique subsaharienne, une expérience éprouvée dans l'exécution de pas mal de plans dans de plusieurs secteurs, en particulier dans l'énergie, l'infrastructure, l'industrie, l'agriculture et l'eau, et finalement un potentiel hydrogène important. Les études confirment que le Maroc pourra capter un minimum 4% du marché mondial si bien sûr est doté d'une stratégie et disons un plan en la matière. L'hydrogène constitue aujourd'hui une opportunité pour notre pays et certainement une opportunité pour d'autres pays. Jusqu'à maintenant, nous avons accompli plusieurs objectifs dans nos préparatifs afin de contribuer à l'émergence de la filière hydrogène verte au Maroc. Je cite, nous avons créé d'abord la Commission nationale parce que nous voulons engager tout le monde. C'est une question, donc c'est une dynamique qui doit être d'ensemble. Donc tous les ministères concernés sont engagés. Bien sûr, nous avons aussi fait appel au privé parce que nous croyons au partenariat public-privé et nous croyons bien sûr au partenariat international. Nous avons réalisé plusieurs études spécifiques afin d'évaluer la maturité des technologies et le potentiel et bien sûr étudier même les opportunités socio-économiques de l'hydrogène pour notre pays. Nous avons commencé déjà à signer des partenariats et nous avons commencé par l'Allemagne et nous voulons donner un exemple d'un partenariat avancé en la matière. Et bien sûr, nous sommes en train de chercher d'autres pistes de coopération et de partenariat. Et cette coopération n'est pas uniquement une coopération classique, mais plutôt c'est une coopération qui vise donc à développer la recherche en la matière. Nous avons une bonne expérience avec l'Allemagne, mais avec aussi d'autres pays dans le domaine de la recherche sur l'énergie renouvelable, et nous voulons l'étaler pour s'attaquer à l'hydrogène. Et bien sûr, nous voulons avec l'Allemagne dès maintenant préparer, si vous voulez, les conditions favorables à un projet pilote qui permettra de montrer qu'aujourd'hui l'énergie pourra être vraiment un cadre de coopération avancé et qui pourra compléter les autres cadres de coopération qui existent entre le Maroc et les autres pays. Et bien sûr, nous allons certainement consolider cette coopération avec d'autres pays comme les pays européens. Nous avons déjà engagé des discussions avec l'Union européenne, sachant que l'hydrogène aujourd'hui constitue une composante importante dans le Green Deal européens. Et d'après notre lecture, et bien sûr, et même d'après quelques messages que nous avons reçus, le Maroc est parmi les premiers pays qui peuvent devenir partenaires à l'Union européenne en la matière. Et enfin, nous avons élaboré une feuille de route en cours de validation. Nous sommes, je crois, dans quelques semaines, la feuille de route va être définitive. À court terme, bien sûr, nous visons l'export. Nous voulons développer des plateformes d'export d'hydrogène, mais nous visons aussi le marché national en commençant par exemple par la production de l'ammoniac vert. Nous avons déjà lancé la réflexion, donc l'Office chérifien des phosphates est en cours est en train d'étudier les conditions pour qu'on puisse s'engager dans cette ligne. À long terme, certainement, nous allons préparer notre pays pour qu'il puisse s'attaquer à d'autres secteurs, à d'autres domaines. Tu as cité quelques-uns, la mobilité, l'industrie, le transport maritime. Nous sommes bien placés pour qu'on puisse capter une partie du marché maritime en hydrogène. Et bien sûr, nous visons aussi à développer tout ce qui est stockage, qui permettra donc de stabiliser le secteur électrique. Et il y a d'autres. Tout dépend donc de l'évolution de la technologie, de l'évolution du marché international et national. Bien sûr, pour qu'on puisse réussir, donc il faut mettre en place les facteurs de succès. Nous avons déjà commencé donc à étudier la demande. Donc ça, c'est c'est un élément essentiel. Nous sommes en train de préparer les termes de référence pour élaborer, si vous voulez, la cartographie des plateformes et des infrastructures, ce qu'on appelle les zones spécifiques à l'hydrogène. Donc, là où il faut mettre ces différentes zones spécifiques, certainement, ils seront, disons, à proximité des ports, mais nous voulons avoir plus de visibilité en la matière. Nous voulons avoir un atlas hydrogène à l'échelle nationale. Nous sommes en train de préparer le cadre réglementaire. Donc, l'hydrogène a besoin d'un cadre réglementaire, qui permettra d'encadrer cette dynamique, qu'elle soit publique ou privée, qui permettra bien sûr de garantir la compétition entre les différents acteurs, mais qui permettra bien sûr à encadrer quelques éléments techniques en la matière. Et finalement, nous lançons le renforcement et la formation et la recherche, le renforcement de la formation et de la recherche en la matière parce qu'on en a besoin. Nous voulons, comme j'ai dit, développer davantage la recherche dans les énergies renouvelables et plus particulièrement dans l'hydrogène, mais nous voulons bien sûr préparer les profils dont on a besoin. Les profils dont on a besoin dans le domaine de l'énergie et plus particulièrement dans le domaine de l'hydrogène. En parallèle à ça, nous lançons quelques projets pilotes industriels avec des partenaires, mais nous lançons quelques réflexions sur le développement de la coopération avec à l'international et plus particulièrement avec les pays africains. Nous considérons que tout ce qui est changement climatique, tout ce qui est développement énergétique, cette nouvelle dynamique en hydrogène, le développement de la logistique et plus particulièrement de la logistique maritime pourra, à mon avis, profiter au continent africain. Et donc, nous voulons à ce que le continent africain capte cette opportunité et nous voulons à ce que le Maroc soit un des acteurs en la matière. Donc déjà, on a commencé les négociations avec l'Union africaine, nous avons commencé les négociations avec certains pays africains pour qu'on puisse mettre en place, si vous voulez, une plateforme d'accompagnement, ce qu'on appelle le renforcement de capacité en énergie renouvelable et plus particulièrement en hydrogène. Voilà, c'est quelques éléments qui résument la dynamique nationale en la matière. Après, si vous voulez, la validation donc, de la feuille de route, nous allons nous étaler sur le développement des différents axes que je viens de citer. Nous avons besoin du cadre réglementaire, nous avons besoin d'une plateforme de recherche, mais nous avons besoin, bien sûr, de lancer quelques initiatives de partenariat avec certains pays. Nous avons commencé par l'Allemagne, mais certainement, nous visons à développer ce partenariat avec d'autres pays. Et nous cherchons, bien sûr, à attirer le maximum d'investissements. Aujourd'hui, l'hydrogène, ce n'est pas uniquement une énergie qui s'ajoute, ou disons une composante qui s'ajoute à la dynamique énergétique. On considère, comme tu viens de le dire, une transformation à l'international du champ énergétique. Aujourd'hui, le domaine énergétique est en quête d'une transformation. Le secteur énergétique, il cherche aujourd'hui une stabilité politique, il cherche une sécurisation du réseau et du système, si vous voulez, électrique à l'international, vu les aléas et les enjeux qui existent à l'échelle mondiale. Aujourd'hui, certains acteurs commencent à émerger, s'imposer en matière de recherche, de technologie et de l'industrie en la matière. Et nous voulons à ce que le Maroc soit dans le radar de ces différents partenaires et acteurs à l'échelle mondiale. Merci beaucoup.
Merci, Monsieur le Ministre. Merci, Sidi Aziz. Effectivement, un programme ambitieux. Moi, j'ajouterais juste un point, et je crois que vous êtes très sensible à ce point-là, vu que vous êtes passé par le ministère de l'Industrie à un moment, c'est l'intégration industrielle locale. Et donc, on peut développer une véritable filière autour des énergies renouvelables, demain autour de l'hydrogène. Et je suis sûr que c'est pour ça que l'un des officiels qui devait parler ce matin, c'est M. Moulay Hafed Al-Alami, qui est le ministre de l'Industrie, du Commerce, de l'économie verte et de l'économie numérique. J'ai compris qu'il ne pouvait pas être avec nous, mais qu'il a envoyé un message. Est-ce qu'on peut entendre le message de Moulay Hafed, monsieur le modérateur?
Uniquement de produire de l'électricité ou de produire quelques éléments dont on a besoin pour l'économie nationale, mais au-delà de ça, c'est développer l'économie de l'énergie avec toutes ses composantes. Donc la dynamique est déjà lancée.
C'est impeccable. Les Américains, ils disent, mon cher Aziz, music to my ears. C'est de la musique à mes oreilles. Ce que tu viens de me dire là.
Bien sûr.
C'est impeccable. Bon, écoutez, si jamais, je crois que vous avez déjà vu ce film Houston, We Have a Problem. Je n'arrive pas à joindre notre hôte. Ah, bon, voilà, je vois l'intervention.
Je voudrais tout d'abord remercier les organisateurs, le ministère de l'Énergie, des Mines et de l'Environnement, l'IRESEN et l'Université Mohamed VI Polytechnique, ainsi que l'ensemble des participants à ce sommet. Je tenais à participer à cet événement pour manifester le soutien du ministère du Commerce, de l'Industrie, de l'économie verte et numérique à cette initiative qui concerne un sujet aussi stratégique que structurant. Sa Majesté le roi Mohamed VI, que Dieu l'assiste, convaincu du bien fondé du développement durable, a donné très tôt ses hautes directives pour réaliser une série de réformes et d'investissements qui nous permettent aujourd'hui d'envisager la transformation de notre économie et de la rendre décarbonée. Cette vision royale a positionné le Maroc en pays de référence, aussi bien en développement d'énergie renouvelable qu'en compétitivité pure. Le Maroc bénéficie désormais de cet avantage de taille, lui permettant de proposer à ses opérateurs et investisseurs une énergie propre à des coûts très compétitifs. Fort de ces atouts, le plan de relance de l'industrie marocaine a placé la décarbonation du tissu productif en priorité absolue. Comme chacun sait, l'industrie du Royaume s'est développée considérablement ces 20 dernières années. Le secteur a en effet été porté par des stratégies qui s'inscrivent dans une totale continuité, assurant une montée en gamme progressive et un développement en profondeur du tissu productif national. L'industrie marocaine a su créer plus de 500 000 emplois entre 2014 et 2019, et son secteur automobile s'est hissé au premier rang des secteurs exportateurs. Le Royaume a montré sa capacité à produire des ensembles de plus en plus complexes et sensibles, à l'instar des pièces chaudes de réacteurs aéronautiques. Durant la pandémie Covid-19, l'industrie marocaine a aussi montré sa capacité à répondre aux besoins du pays, y compris en ce qui concerne les équipements sanitaires sophistiqués. Nous avons été agréablement surpris, en effet, par la capacité de nos industriels à s'adapter et à se réinventer dans des délais extrêmement courts tout au long de cette pandémie. Nous sommes convaincus, plus que jamais, que le Royaume jouit d'une stabilité politique qui en fait une terre d'accueil des investisseurs. Il dispose d'une industrie innovante, réactive, compétitive et résiliente. Que cette industrie est aujourd'hui en mesure d'utiliser une énergie renouvelable et compétitive, que le Maroc bénéficie d'un positionnement géostratégique particulier en Afrique, en Méditerranée et à la porte de l'Europe. Pour toutes ces raisons, le Maroc s'est résolument engagé à développer une base industrielle de référence ouverte à ses partenaires. Bien que nos énergies renouvelables soient parmi les plus compétitives au monde, une intégration plus en profondeur de notre industrie nécessitera aussi de générer de la chaleur compétitive et décarbonée. L'hydrogène vert offre à ce titre de bonnes ou de réelles perspectives. La demande annuelle mondiale en hydrogène pourrait être multipliée par 8 d'ici 2050. L'Europe s'est fixé des objectifs ambitieux en termes de part de l'hydrogène dans son mix énergétique, qui devrait passer de moins de 2% à 13, voire 14% en 2050. Pour atteindre cet objectif, une alliance de l'hydrogène a été créée et des investissements colossaux sont prévus, estimés entre 180 et 470 milliards d'euros d'ici 2050. À horizon 2030, l'Union européenne prévoit le développement d'une capacité d'électrolyse de 2 fois 40 gigawatts d'ici à 2030. 40 gigawatts seront réalisés à l'intérieur de l'Union européenne et 40 gigawatts dans les pays voisins de l'Union européenne. Le Maroc, de par son potentiel éolien et solaire, ainsi que sa base industrielle, est outillé pour accueillir d'importantes capacités de production dans le cadre d'une approche de complémentarité qui permettrait à l'Europe de renforcer sa puissance industrielle et au Maroc son positionnement en tant que base industrielle confirmée, offrant à ses partenaires européens des gisements de compétitivité et de productivité décarbonée. Cette approche commune et concertée permettrait non seulement de conserver nos parts de marché réciproques, mais aussi et surtout de recouvrer tout ou partie de nos propres productions que nous avons laissées dériver vers d'autres contrées qui avaient, dans ces temps-là, une meilleure compétitivité. À nous de prendre notre destin en main et de gérer de façon plus efficiente nos énergies et nos complémentarités pour créer plus de richesses et d'emplois pour nos jeunes, aussi bien en Europe qu'au Maroc. Telle est la modeste réflexion que je voulais partager avec vous. Je vous souhaite un fructueux sommet.
Alors, on devait avoir avec nous Madame Kadri Simpson, la commissaire de l'Union européenne à l'énergie. Malheureusement, elle n'a pas pu être présente avec nous et donc il y a un message qu'elle nous adresse. Monsieur le modérateur, je vous prie de bien vouloir mettre le message de Madame Simpson à la disposition, à notre écoute. Merci.
Minister Aziz Rabah, ladies and gentlemen, greetings from very pleased to join you today via a video message on the occasion of the World Power Rig Summit. Allow me to start by congratulating the Mohammed VI University and the Research Institute for Solar Energy and New Energies for their lead in organizing the summit. With these kind of initiatives, we can exchange and cooperate across Mediterranean countries on renewables. Europe has set ambitions high. As you know, we have committed to a reduction of at least 55% of greenhouse gas emissions by 2030 and to a climate-neutral Europe by 2050. That gives us little time to act and to transform our energy system from the current system to a much greener, more efficient one. Renewables have a central role in achieving our decarbonization goal. In real terms, that means just 1 decade for the share of renewable electricity to jump from 32% to 65% in Europe. To meet this target, we need to deploy new renewable generation capacity, particularly solar, photovoltaic, but also repowering of existing onshore wind farms, and exploiting offshore energy. Morocco and the European Union are long-standing partners in the field of energy. The transition towards clean and sustainable energy is also a priority of the EU-Morocco Association Council Joint Declaration, which defines the key themes of collaboration between Morocco and the EU. In the coming months, the Commission will also have in-depth policy dialogues with all the partner countries in the South neighbourhood and in Africa, with a view to defining and agreeing the EU programmes of technical and financial cooperation for the period 2021-2027. In this context, I look with great interest at the cooperation with Morocco and with the other countries in the Mediterranean region who share the potential and the commitment to transform and develop the clean industry. We have a lot to learn from each other. In particular, we stand ready to join forces and work together with our partner countries on the promising and exciting prospects of clean hydrogen and Power-to-X technologies. This is definitely a win-win situation for climate, for sustainable growth and jobs, and for investing in the energy systems of tomorrow. It will also help to kick off our economies on both shores of the Mediterranean in the context of the green recovery. Continuing with hydrogen, this July we adopted the EU strategy for hydrogen and launched the Clean Hydrogen Alliance. Our approach aims to ramp up the capacity and to develop hydrogen markets as fast as possible. That vision comes with a set of ambitious targets: 6 gigawatts of electrolyzers installed by 2024 and 40 gigawatts by 2030. Our long-term focus is renewable hydrogen, produced using mainly wind and solar energy as the most compatible option with the EU's climate neutrality goal. But we see a place for other forms of low-carbon hydrogen in a transition phase, while ramping up renewable hydrogen capacity. Renewable hydrogen offers a unique pathway to address the sectors where it is difficult to cut emissions, for which decarbonization alternatives are scarce, and where electrification is challenging. With very good solar and wind resources, and thanks to the dramatic fall in solar and wind technologies costs, North African countries are increasingly able to generate abundant and cheap renewable electricity. There is a huge potential to develop power-to-gas technology and produce green hydrogen and its derivatives for local consumption and possibly for export. And Europe is a prospective importer of these forms of carbon-neutral energy. For these reasons, we intend to place hydrogen high on the agenda of the structured energy dialogues with our partners. Ministers, ladies and gentlemen, I hope my message today provides some good background for your discussions in the next days. I wish you a very good summit.
À la commissaire d'avoir bien voulu enregistrer ce message pour notre sommet. Moi, je rebondirai juste sur un point. Quand j'entends que l'Union européenne compte à horizon 2030 avoir 37% d'énergie renouvelable dans son mix énergétique, c'est une excellente opportunité de coopération, Monsieur le ministre Bah, vous le savez, d'accord. Il suffit que les Européens acceptent que cette énergie puisse venir du Maroc ou d'autres pays pourtour de la Méditerranée pour que nous ayons beaucoup de choses à faire avec eux déjà sur juste ce sujet d'énergie, d'électricité et bien sûr sur tout ce qui est aussi hydrogène puisque nous sommes aujourd'hui dans le Power-to-X comme sujet. On m'a annoncé qu'il y avait un petit problème au niveau de contraintes d'agenda. Donc, excusez-moi si je ne suis pas la liste protocolaire, mais je vais donner la parole tout de suite à Monsieur Norbert Bartel, qui est Parliamentary State Secretary to the Federal Minister for Economic Cooperation and Development of Germany. So, Mr. Bartel, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being a part of this panel. It's a great honor for me. I think previous speakers have stated it clearly. Europe believes that green hydrogen is a key to our future. Putting the Paris Agreement into action and limiting global warming requires innovative technologies and new partnerships and cooperation at the global level. Green hydrogen and Power-to-X technologies offer a promising path to decarbonization, and even more, they allow us to reconcile economic growth with climate action. Morocco is already known as a very successful pioneer on renewable energies and as an early mover in the Power-to-X sector. Morocco is seizing the moment. The country has enormous potential for the production of green hydrogen and its derivatives, both for domestic use and for the development of an export-oriented industry. New value chains offer better prospects for the Moroccan people. This is becoming even more important at this time as COVID-19 is sweeping the world and hitting our country's economies hard. We believe that clean technologies are a key to our common future and to a global green recovery from the economic impacts of the pandemic. Germany has shown its commitment clearly with its national hydrogen strategy. Our State Secretary of State will mention this a little bit later. And Morocco and Germany have agreed to join forces for sustainable development and climate action and have set up an alliance for Power-to-X. We are very proud to cooperate with Morocco in this field, a visionary partner on climate policy and renewable energy. And just last week, my ministry, the Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development, therefore committed 88.5 million euros to jumpstart the development of a green Moroccan hydrogen industry. Together, we will work towards establishing the first large-scale production unit in Africa and developing a Power-to-X sector in the country. I expect to see green hydrogen made in Morocco in about 4 years' time. This effort offers great potential for both sides. We hope that this will trigger further international partnerships in the future. I encourage other countries to follow the example of Morocco's courageous and visionary policies. This conference is important for spreading the word and deepening international exchange and cooperation so that we can rise to the challenge of opening up new paths for economic development while slowing down climate change. Thank you for your attention.
Mr. Bartel, thank you for these nice words and thank you for the great news. I mean, these are absolutely great news. We are very excited. I am very excited. I'm sure that the minister is also, I mean, maybe he had the news before us, for sure.
Yes.
That's great to jumpstart these efforts, and really it's on the ground that we will show that it's feasible. That's that period. I mean, and that's the right steps to be taken. So thank you again. Thank you for the
Thank
trust.
you very much. I think we have a great future of both countries in this way.
Thank you. And now I would like to give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Andreas Fecht, Secretary of State to the Federal Minister of Economy and Energy of Germany, of course. Please, Mr. Fecht.
Yeah, the Excellency Minister Aziz Rabah, Excellencies Minister Fernandez, ladies and gentlemen, lieber Kollege Bartle, it's my pleasure to participate at the World PTX Summit with Germany. Sorry?
We have a mic that must be switched off. Sorry, Minister.
No problem. It's my pleasure to participate at this World PTX Summit where Germany is chosen as country of honor. The World PTX Summit is an important international signal for cooperation, for joining forces and working together to make succeed the potential which lays ahead of us with the technology of Power-to-X. In order to harvest the fruits of Power-to-X in future, we need to start today. In Germany, we realized that we need to introduce policies and regulations to enforce industry, which will, of course, play a key factor in establishing a Power-to-X industry. In Germany, we have introduced many processes to facilitate this. We have launched our national hydrogen strategy in June this year, which I would like to outline shortly. While we made good progress in the electricity sector, we also want to decarbonize the other sectors, like industry and transport. In Germany, there are two main drivers for hydrogen. First, our climate ambitions. Second, the opportunities for cooperation between businesses and countries like Morocco. Therefore, hydrogen will be a key element in our energy transition. To facilitate the market ramp-up of hydrogen, the German government has designed a comprehensive action plan consisting of 38 measures that backed up by a 9 billion euro investment package from the German recovery program. For Germany, we foresee an annual demand of 90 to 110 terawatt hours of hydrogen by 2030. Only a small share of the demand will be produced domestically. We want to establish 5 gigawatts of installments and of electrolyzers by 2030 in Germany, and another 5 gigawatt by 2035, latest 2040. So that will cover about 15 to 20% of the demand which we expect in Germany. Only 2 billion euros of our investment plan are foreseen for international projects. We are currently exploring potential international partners for hydrogen projects. With regard to first applications, we see a demand in industry, in particular in refineries or steel production and heavy-duty transport. I have no doubt that there is a chance that the PTX economy will be a key driver for further intensifying the existing and very good cooperation between Morocco and Germany. Mr. Minister, we had the opportunity to talk to each other and with your State Secretary for often in the past, and we have a very strong energy partnership, and this is a very worthwhile basis for that what we have in mind on our hydrogen cooperation. But this is not only with Morocco, this is also between Africa and the European Union as a whole. When it comes to cooperation with the energy partnership or development cooperation between Germany and Morocco, a lot has been reached already in the past years. And even last year, with the intensified hydrogen discussion, but also the agreements of the set roadmap for sustainable energy trade between Morocco and Europe. Through our energy partnerships, together with our colleagues from the other ministries in the federal government of Germany, we already today support the first reference projects and strategies worldwide, but also in Morocco, as my colleague Norbert Bartlett just mentioned. The signature of the German-Moroccan Hydrogen Alliance was another step and another foundation stone for intensifying our cooperation on green hydrogen. Morocco has an outstanding potential to produce green hydrogen because of the natural resources you have in your country. We are neighboring regions, and this offers many opportunities for further energy cooperation. Hydrogen offers Germany, Europe, and Morocco a new level of cooperation potentials and a win-win situation. A triple win when you count in your planet's sustainable future. German companies such as Siemens, ThyssenKrupp, and MAN, but also many small and medium-sized companies, and you just had a video chat with the company Sunfire in the city of Dresden, play along the whole value chain and are world leaders in many segments related to the energy transition and to hydrogen. The technology and know-how is there, and it's ready. As the development of the hydrogen market is still at an early stage, it is key to involve all stakeholders in the process. In Germany, we have set up a National Hydrogen Council, which supports and gives our government guidance. And there are NGOs, industries, demand side and supply side and of course the science, they are all engaged in this council. But as it is true in many cases, in the context of hydrogen, it is also important to go beyond national discussions. Morocco and Africa can play an important role, and new geopolitical opportunities are arising. Regulations and policies will be key for rollout of the hydrogen market. When we talk about export potentials, we also have to jointly agree on standards on the origin of hydrogen, of the circumstances of production of hydrogen, but also the questions of transport. In our energy partnerships, Hydrogen Alliance and task forces, we assess currently the potentials of the bilateral and regional cooperation with intensified support mechanism on the horizon. We see a hydrogen market also as a chance for boosting our economies after the pandemic, after the COVID pandemic, driving economic development, creating jobs, improving the balance of trade and payments. We want to foster the exchange and local matchmaking to facilitate concrete projects. This is also why we jointly organize with Moroccan key stakeholders, the German Chamber of Commerce and the German-Moroccan Energy Partnership, business-to-business exchanges alongside this summit. I wish that our mutual efforts on policies and regulations will lead to concrete projects, just mentioned and announced by now, and but we need more projects on that level and that we can implement together. Let's start today, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Excellency. I mean, just for the record, I have held the portfolio of industry between 2007 and 2011. End of 2011, I was Minister of Industry, Commerce, New Technologies, and I did a lot of efforts traveling to Germany to lure, German businesses to come to Morocco. I was unsuccessful. So now I'm hearing all these projects we have with you on this hydrogen. I'm now optimistic that we can build some strong relationships between the companies, Moroccan companies and German companies. So finally, we're seeing the light, and in fact, it's coming from hydrogen. It's just, that's great. So thank you again for all the efforts. Now it is my pleasure, and I want to applaud.
But you have put the basis of this new cooperation between.
Thank you, Minister. Now it is my pleasure to give the floor to His Excellency, Mr. João Pedro Matos Fernandes, Minister for the Environment and Energy Transition of Portugal. Minister, I have to apologize again because you were due to intervene earlier, but due to some technical hiccups and also some agenda priorities, I had to delay your intervention. So again, my apologies, and the floor is yours.
Well, good morning to you all. It's a pleasure to be here. I want to salute everyone, especially His Excellency and my very good friend, Mr. Aziz Rabat. It's really good to see you from here. In 2016, in Marrakesh, during the climate COP, Portugal adopted a target of carbon neutrality by 2050, and we were the first country in the world to assume this responsibility. After that, we developed a roadmap for carbon neutrality, and the roadmap was approved in July 2019. It's a long-term development strategy for low greenhouse gas emissions submitted to the UN on September of 2019. In line with the conclusions of the IPCC's special report, this roadmap stressed that greater efforts must be made during the next decade to reduce greenhouse gases. Ambitious but attainable goals were established for the 2030 horizon that were set out in our National Energy and Climate Plan, which is the main national climate and energy policy tool for the 2030 horizon to implement a carbon neutral future. Climate change and its impact, especially visible and burdensome in recent years, called the country to a collective response reinforced by the pandemic caused by the COVID-19. While it challenges us to demand answers, the present circumstances show us new opportunities that we must embrace. The transition to a new energy consumption model is the natural ecosystem for the development of new business models, more sustainable, more resilient, and aligned with long-term objectives, namely regarding their impact on the path towards carbon neutrality. Portugal's sustainable growth trajectory is founded upon a more competitive and resilient development growth model, reducing the consumption of natural and energetic resources and, at the same time, creating new employment opportunities, increasing wealth creation, and fostering new knowledge and innovation. Portugal and Morocco share the commitment to decarbonize their economies, acknowledging the strategic opportunity represented in the green energy transition as mobilizing factors and enablers for a sustainable development. This path to a carbon neutral economy requires joint action in several strategic areas, which prioritize being given to energy efficiency, greater diversification of energy sources, increase in electrification, reinforcement and modernization of infrastructure, development of interconnections, market stability and investment, reconfiguration and digitalization of energy markets, incentives for research and development, promotion of low-carbon processes, products and services, and improved energy services coupled with a more informed and aware consumer. The clean energy transition should not only involve but benefit consumers. Renewable energy sources will have an essential role. The smart integration of renewables, energy efficiency, and other sustainable solutions across sectors will help us to achieve decarbonization at the lowest possible cost. The rapid decrease in the cost of renewable electricity, combined with the improvement design of support policies, will further reduce the impact on households' energy bills and renewables deployment. Portugal's 2019 solar auction and this year's solar auction demonstrate the competitiveness of renewable electricity. Both tenders were resounding successes, with Portugal setting once more a new world record for the lowest solar tariff price. The next solar tenders will have new implementation possibilities that are under review, as for example, the floating solar PV, particularly in the dam reservoirs. The consumer role will change, and this has already started in a very profound way, moving from the actual passive consumer to a prosumer, producer, and consumer, as an active participant in the power grids management, which ensures suitable levels of quality of service and supply security. Things like smart networks, management support systems, producer and/or consumer aggregators, bidirectional smart meters, storage systems, local production of energy, active consumers, flexibility in supply demand, electric vehicles, among many other factors, are the variables which need to be considered when building the model for the grid of the future. To assure real integration of all these different and demanding variables, regardless of the configuration to be adopted, it is important to form a strategic vision of the national electricity network, which will allow national targets and objectives for the 2030 horizon to be met. To promote distributed electricity production and self-consumption from renewable energy sources, Portugal has already adopted a legal framework, which first allows and promotes individual self-consumption. Second, allows and promotes allows the formation of energy communities. This legal framework enables individuals, companies, and other public and private entities to produce, consume, share, store, and sell energy produced from renewable sources, thus actively participating in energy transition. In this great challenge, electrification is not a panacea, a one-size-fits-all model. Renewable gases, particularly hydrogen and also biomethane, have the potential to play an important role in promoting the decarbonization of sectors of the economy that currently have few alternative technological options and where electrification could result in significant costs or is simply technical unfeasible. In the next decade, the energy sector will be the one that will make the greatest contribution to decarbonization. In this context, it is worth highlighting the role that renewable gases, in particular green hydrogen, can play in the decarbonization of the various sectors of the economy, both industry and transport, which will allow reaching high levels of incorporation of renewable energy sources in the energy consumption. Accelerating the energy transition and the decarbonization of the economy over the next decade means that Portugal must invest in the production and incorporation of increasing volumes of green hydrogen. The recognition of the importance of hydrogen lies in the fact that, among others, it is an energy carried with high energy density, which allows it to be a solution for intensive industrial process, store energy produced through renewable sources, and enable the emergence of other renewable-based fuels, contributing to enhance the fulfillment of national objective for renewable sources in final energy consumption and decarbonization. To bring these features forward, several mechanisms are being implemented. First, regulating the injection of renewable gases into the national natural gas network. Second, warranties of origin systems for renewable gases. Third, concentrating financial resources available in national and European level to support energy production through the production of renewable gases, particularly green hydrogen. And fourth, setting the binding targets by 2030 to incorporate renewable gases into the natural gas network. All of this is already done. Portugal and Morocco recognize the potential of green hydrogen produced from renewable electricity as an important energy vector for the decarbonization. Our countries are working together to strengthen its partnership and ongoing cooperation on energy sector, aligning our strategic priorities on green hydrogen, looking to encourage commercial demand for it, as well as to promote joint actions to reinforce the role of green hydrogen, combining economic competitiveness and environmental and economic sustainability, including private cross-border investment of the green hydrogen full value chain. Aligning Portugal and Morocco's green hydrogen strategic priorities is an important contribution to the creation of a forward-looking Africa-Europe hydrogen infrastructure and market, including related derivative products such as green ammonia, methanol, or liquid fuels, in the near future in line with each other's decarbonization strategies. The challenges we are facing demand concerted action between energy and climate and other policy areas, as this is the only way it will be possible to trace an achievable path towards an economy and a carbon-neutral society that is at the same time promoting economic growth and improving the quality of life. The new energy model currently underway towards carbon neutrality represents a unique opportunity for our countries, which will make possible to transform our national economies in a logic of sustainable development based on a democratic and fair model that promotes job creation and prosperity, territorial cohesion, together with the preservation of natural resources. Thank you.
Thank you, Excellency, for this very rich and complete, vision. I had the pleasure to host your Ambassador Pereira, yesterday, and we were talking about, not yesterday, yesterday, on Monday, and we were talking about opportunities between Morocco and Portugal, and I'm sure that this field will be one of the fields where there can be cooperation. And again, sorry for this hiccups. That is all due to my inexperience in chairing this type of events. Now I have the pleasure to introduce, in fact, Mr. Francisco La Camera. He is the Director General of IRENA, International Renewable Energy Agency. He was supposed to be on the panel. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it. So he has a message for us. Mr. Moderator, can you please launch the message? Thank you.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, it is a pleasure to share with you IRENA perspective on Power-to-X and on regulations and policies, which are the focus of this session. But let me first congratulate Morocco and my friend, His Excellency Ms. Aziz Rabat, for organizing this event. Morocco is in an excellent position to take a leading role on Power-to-X, including green hydrogen. It has the endowment of some of the best renewable resources in the world, and this neighbor of energy importing regions such as the EU, which has ambitious plans that will drive demand. International collaboration and public-private sector collaboration will be critical. On the request by its members, IRENA established a collaborative framework of green hydrogen this June. The EU and Morocco were elected the co-chair of the framework, which reflect their leading role in this area. IRENA, with its global membership, has indeed a central role to play in analyzing latest development and impacts of different aspects of hydrogen strategies and to support international cooperation in this space. In parallel, we are also expanding partnership with relevant stakeholders, including the World Economic Forum, to facilitate enabling framework of the Accelerating Clean Hydrogen Initiative. Moving on the specific topic of this session, at IRENA, we understand the importance of policies to support the development of green hydrogen. Long-term commitments are needed to give a signal to investors and channel private capital towards hydrogen technologies. Regulation is needed that leads to the creation of new market. Certification is needed to track and value lower emission from green hydrogen. And risk mitigation measures are needed to address offtake uncertainties, which is critical for electrolyzer projects. To assist government in the process of navigating through the different policies, we just, as IRENA, released a policy-making guide on green hydrogen. The reports cover 4 pillars. First are national hydrogen strategies. They should define the level of ambition and serve as a reference for private actors' financing. The second pillar is setting priorities. Policymakers should identify and prioritize applications that provide the highest value. For example, industry and hard-to-abate sectors before low-grade hits. Third pillar focuses on introducing guarantees of origin. They should provide a clear label on CO2 emission to increase consumer awareness and claim incentive. And finally, policymakers should design enabling policies to create industrial, economic, and social value, including new and good jobs. Ladies and gentlemen, green hydrogen cannot achieve its full potential without being competitive. Renewable electricity, which is the main driver for costs, has achieved significant cost decline over the last decade, and will continue to do so in the coming year. Therefore, we need to focus on the other cost driver, in particular the cost of electrolyzer. For this, ARENA's work on hydrogen will also look at strategies to achieve a rapid scale-up and cost reduction for electrolyzer. These strategies cover innovation to improve the performance, economy of scale for plant enduring manufacturing, as well as learning through deployment. New findings on cost trends of green hydrogen in the mid and long-term perspective will be released by ARENA in the coming weeks. I wish you all an inspiring World Power to X Summit. ARENA stands ready to support a country across the world in transforming their green hydrogen vision into a reality. Thank you. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Camara, for sending this message to the summit. Now we are moving to the last part of this first session, which is a panel. And it is my pleasure to have on this panel three panelists. The first one will be Mr. Paulo Frankel. Paulo Frankel is head of the Renewable Energy Division at the International Energy Agency, which he joined in 2007. Dr. Frankel leads the IEA's work on renewables, providing analysis and advice on policies, markets, and technologies to 30 members and 8 association countries. A physicist by training, Dr. Frankel holds a PhD in energy and environmental technologies from the University of Rome. The second panelist will be Mr. Ilyas El-Fali. Ilyas joined the OCP group in 2009 as a project manager in strategy and partnership direction. He progressed through management roles in the partnership direction and in Jorf Lasfar's commercial port before becoming director of the Safi site. In 2015, he became the executive vice president of industrial operations. And the third and the last panelist will be Ms. Tariq Hammam. Tariq is the executive director and head of development at Mazen, where he is in charge of developing Mazen's project and activities in Morocco and abroad, mainly in Africa, starting from the development strategy and the sourcing of renewable project opportunities to the launch of construction. Tariq has more than 17 years of managerial experience in leading the development of large-scale infrastructure and power generation projects, including IPPs, PPP, and EPC projects for different technologies. So thank you, gentlemen, for being with us this morning. I will give the floor now to Dr. Paulo Frankel for a presentation. And he will be followed by Ilyas and by Tariq. And we will move to, after their presentation, to a Q&A session. Dr. Frankel, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It is indeed a great pleasure and a great honor for me to represent the IEA in this high-level opening of the summit. To me, allow me to give the broader picture. You said Power-to-X has a global stake. So let me present a few slides, if I may, on precisely this, hoping that this will work. Okay, first, the solar and wind revolution is now. It is not in the long-term future. It is right now, underpinned by significant reduction costs. What we will see in the future years, 5 years, is the following. Here in the graph, you see the total installed capacity for each fuel, and this is what is going to happen for solar and wind. In the next 5 years, the total capacity will double, and by 2024, solar and wind capacities together will overcome coal, which needed 80 years to install these capacities. That's a real big revolution. Second point, the costs are going to continue to go down massively. And if you look in particular at the sustainable development scenario of the IEA, which is in line with the Paris Agreement, the green bars, you will see that solar PV will continue to decrease cost by 50%. Same will happen with grid-scale batteries and offshore wind, and most importantly for this session, the hydrogen electrolyzers if scale is created. Now, one important caveat, of course, direct electrification of end users and Power-to-X need to go in parallel. They are both very important pillars of the clean energy transitions, and this is just a well-known examples. The market of the electric vehicles will have to increase, and the stock of the electric vehicles in the world will have to increase by more than 30 times in the next decade in order to be in line with the sustainable targets. And then let's come to the hydrogen, and in particular, green hydrogen. Three main reasons are fundamental motivators for hydrogen. One is integrating more renewables because it includes more flexibility and storage options. The second, which has been mentioned several times, decarbonize hard-to-abate sectors such as steel, chemicals, but also transport. And one aspect that has never been mentioned this morning, enhance energy security, because it provides more diversification of the fuel mix, it provides a massive expansion for renewables, and also flexibility to balance the grids. So up to now, as you know very well, of the 70 million tons of hydrogen today in the world, basically 99% is produced by fossil fuels. This will have to change massively in the next decade, and then even more so in 2050. And if you look at this point in 2050, at least half of the total hydrogen production will have to come from the electrolytic route, of course, for a low carbon electricity. So today, only 200 megawatts, roughly, of electrolyzers are installed in the world. They have to ramp up to 3,300 gigawatts in this time frame. And if you look even farther in the future, by 2070, around 1/5 of the whole electricity production will be dedicated to the hydrogen production to produce green fuels and green chemicals. This is a huge quantity. It's some 15,000 terawatt hours, which is almost the half of the world consumption today, and which is more than the whole generation of all renewables globally today. Now, by doing that, it was mentioned, but I would like to stress two examples of demand for these fuels. One is long-term, long-haul transport. For instance, this in the graph in the left, this is the international shipping, where we see a fundamental, significant augmentation of, in particular, green ammonia to provide these fuels. And in the right graph, there is an example for the industry. This is the iron production, where we see a big potential of expansion of the 100% direct reduced iron production through electrolytic hydrogen. Now, these are, of course, will be complementary, and there are other options in the industry, but these are just examples of a huge demand driving these markets. Now, in terms of geographic potential, and the potential of Africa has been mentioned several times, if you look at this map, which are the long-term hydrogen production costs from solar and wind, just don't look at the scales, but look at the colors. You immediately see what are the continents that are more dark blue, where there is a long-term potential of low-cost source of hydrogen production with favorable resource conditions, and Africa has a central role to play, not just vis-a-vis Europe, but actually vis-a-vis the whole world. So in conclusion, there are four priorities for us in this decade to go forward. One is to use industrial hubs, because these are the nerve center of having the resources and having the infrastructure for transporting the hydrogen. Second, as much as it possible, use also existing infrastructure, for instance, the gas grids, enhance all the demand in terms of mobility, industrial capacities, and open new international trade. The center of this conference is, of course, the relation between Africa and Europe, but a much bigger, larger picture here it is at stake, first for the whole continent of Africa, and then actually the global markets. So allow me just to summarize 5 points. One, the solar and PNW wind are really transforming the power systems worldwide. The direct electrification of end-use sectors and the Power-to-X are two critical complementary pillars for all the clean energy transitions. Third point, very important, thanks to the electrolyzer flexibility, the Power-to-X and the production of green hydrogen facilitates the integration and allows faster deployment of solar PV in wind in local circumstances. This is very important. You cannot create an export-oriented industry without also cleaning the local power mix, and this is going to happen. There is an huge opportunity for opening new commodity international trade, by the way, massively expanding the potential uses of renewable electricity. And as Francesco La Camera just said, of course, the role of governments is more important than ever not to accelerate the transition in these sectors by attracting affordable financing and adopting a system approach. I thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Frankel, for a very enlightening presentation. And now I will cede the floor to Mr. Ilyas El-Filali from the OCP Group. Ilyas, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Happy to be with you today to talk about this important subject and how OCP is addressing it. So if you allow me, I will display a few slides. I hope it will work.
Don't worry, that's the Murphy's Law.
Oh.
Yes, if you want me to give the floor to Tariq, once you get all set, I can come back to you at the end.
Yeah, I would prefer, please.
Okay.
I can't display it.
So the floor is to you, Tariq. If you have a problem also with technology, I cannot switch back to Ilyas, so it's better work.
Thank you, Chairman. I will try to connect. I think I have also some problem with the presentation. But let's proceed without the presentation. It's not mandatory. So, first of all, ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellencies, thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to participate on this very important panel dedicated to the Power-to-X. So I will not repeat what has been said before about the competitive advantage of Morocco in terms of renewables and green hydrogen and the world of Power-to-X in general. Thanks to the very interesting potential of renewables we have in Morocco in terms of wind and solar, that make us one of the best places in the world for the generation of renewable electricity. Also, the good positioning in terms of proximity with a very large market, which is the European market, that, as we seen this morning, will multiply by 8 its consumption of hydrogen within the next 20 years. And this will represent a dozen of gigawatts of green electricity to develop to serve this market. And of course, the local production in Europe will not be allowed to feed this need. And Morocco is definitely one of the potential feeder of this need to the Europe. Of course, thanks also to the great infrastructure we have in Morocco in terms of grid in terms of interconnection with Europe. As mentioned before, we have 2 lines that connect us with Europe, with Spain. There is another project to increase the capacity with a 3rd line. Also, interconnection planning to be developed with Portugal. Morocco also is interconnected with Algeria, and there is a project to be interconnected with Mauritania, which allow us to be a real hub in terms of power and green power, and then, of course, all the application around the green energy. What is also interesting and important to mention is the legal framework that has been established in Morocco in order to support the development of our renewables projects, and which allow us to be a leader in the continent in terms of green generation or electricity. Thanks also to the maturity of our financial and banks that are very active and promoting the development of power project, mainly in the renewables area. As we all know, power represents more than 70% of the cost of hydrogen. So it means that if we want, and this is the challenge we are facing, to make the green hydrogen competitive, we should optimize the cost of generation. And Morocco has, of course, this advantage of the quality of its potential in order to get this achievement done. But moreover, what has been said about the potential, one of the most advantage we have Morocco, and that position us as a perfect partner to develop this new segment of Power-to-X, is the resilience and the commitment we shows in the execution of our strategy, and especially in the renewable area. From 2009, when Morocco has established its renewable strategy with clear objectives in terms of renewables, wind and solar, with a target of 52% by 2030. In fact, we are progressing in this field, and we hope that within the next 3 years we'll achieve this target and go further in terms of massive introduction of renewables. So Mazen has been developing for the last 10 years several integrated renewable projects in accordance with its mission, and this cover different technology, solar and wind. In this context, and in order to capitalize on the experiences acquired on the renewable sector, we launched different studies in order to develop Power-to-X sector. And we start with what we call a reference project, integrated project, including wind solar generation with an electrolyzer system. So for this project, we are in the development phase. We are progressing with the different studies, selecting the sites, and working with the German partners in terms of financing the project. So of course, here we take the opportunity to thank the German cooperation for their support of the development of this project. For us, it's a very important matter, because we want to dismantle that we can, in a industrial scale, produce green hydrogen, and then different applications such ammonia or biofuel in a competitive way. And I think that we have all ingredients here in Morocco to dismantle this. Our target is to to develop this project and to make it under operation by 2024, 2025. Of course, this will be done with the commitment of all the parties. And our target, it's not only to develop such a first project, but also to push for the creation of a real platform and the real ecosystem around this
Seems that we have problem of connection. Tariq. Tariq.
Honorable Chairman, we suggest switch to the next speaker, as unfortunately we lost connection with Si Hamad.
Connects again, then we'll give him a few words to conclude his presentation. Ilyas, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I hope this time it's working. Do you see my slide?
It is.
All right. Thank you, and sorry for the inconvenience. So if you allow me, I will start with a short introduction of OCP group for those who don't know OCP before moving, of course, to our subject today. So OCP is one of the leading phosphate or fertilizer producers in the world, with a global footprint covering the 5 continents, around $6 billion revenues annually, and something like $2 billion EBITDA, and 21,000 employees. We are enjoying an exceptional position in terms of reserves. And according to the USGS, Morocco has something like 3/4 of the world reserves, competitive and high quality reserves, which makes OCP, and we consider ourselves to be the phosphate custodians, the phosphate responsible custodians, and that's why actually we are engaged in a CapEx program that is mentioned here, aiming to double our mining capacity, tripling fertilizer capacity over the last decade, in order to serve, I would say, a sustainable agriculture all over the world, and to contribute to the food security in the world. So very briefly, in terms of history, we're actually celebrating today, this year, the 100th anniversary of the group that started its operations in 1920 as a pure mining, phosphate mining company. And we like to represent our history or as a succession of what we call S-curves in terms of development of our business model. The first S-curve being the mining S-curve, and then the fertilizer as a commodity S-curve. And today we are engaged in the third S-curve, transforming the company from a pure commodity player to a solution provider for a sustainable agriculture. So needless to say that this transformation is a deep one, and it entails a strong focus on innovation and on sustainability. So, I mean, sustainability, of course, is a broad subject, and I will need more time here to develop the group strategy in sustainability. But let me focus more on energy and its downstream. So energy is one of the main pillars of our sustainability strategy. And OCP is today covering 87% of its electricity needs through renewable and clean energy, both by recovering heats from the processes of fertilizer production, and also through the use of wind power. And for example, today, 3 out of 4 mining sites in Morocco are already 100% renewable electricity. And our target is to be 100% clean electricity by 2030, taking into account our development and capex and growth program. In terms of carbon footprint, it's something we are monitoring very closely, and it's actually at the heart of our development strategy. And as you see in the chart in the left, we've been tripling our fertilizer capacity over the last 10 years while maintaining a stable carbon footprint. And on the right chart, you see another example of this improvement. Last year, for example, we increased our production by 6% while reducing our carbon footprint by 14%. And our goal is to achieve carbon neutrality by 2040, so 10 years ahead of the Paris Agreement objective, which makes OCP one of the leading company in the industry in terms of carbon footprint reduction. How do we plan to do this? Well, through a comprehensive and diversified program ranging, without going into the detail, ranging from CO2 capture at the stacks in the production of fertilizer to carbon farming at the mine, the use of renewable energy in our processes, and other energy efficiency initiatives, but also through the use of green ammonia. But what is interesting here to say is that green ammonia is in our scope 3 in terms of emissions, so it's not actually, so we are going actually beyond the mere carbon neutrality, and we're targeting green fertilizers using even green ammonia. Why are we doing this? Well, because we are strong believers in green ammonia. We have the opportunity to be one of we are actually the biggest importer of ammonia in the world. We are consuming today something like 2 million tons annually of ammonia to produce our fertilizer, and we are not tied to any source of fossil fuel to produce ammonia, which is in this perspective, we consider it to be an opportunity. So we are well positioned, and especially in Morocco, where we have abundant resources in terms of wind and solar. We have all the ingredients to be at the front end of innovation in green ammonia. So this is why we're investing a lot in terms of R&D and innovation in this sector. One of the examples is what you see here in this slide, which is the pilot plant for production of green ammonia that will be building starting in a few weeks now, next year. It's a 4-ton per day pilot plant, and the objective here, of course, is to address the challenges of the scale-up of this technology. The challenges being the management of the intermittency of the solar and wind energy, hydrogen storage, and the overall integration of the process in order to achieve an efficient scale-up. We're doing it with a certain number of partners, one of them being Fraunhofer, our partner in the green energy park. But beyond this, R&D initiative in green ammonia, we are also interested in upstream R&D, and we have, of course, a research agenda covering many areas, always aiming at improving the competitiveness of renewable energy and its uses. So we're also investing in R&D in CO2 capture, green methanol, which represents a big potential in terms of carbon footprint reduction and monetization of our carbon emissions. Energy storage, renewable energy also, because it's, here it's the objective is to adapt the existing technologies to our context of our mines in order to improve its efficiency and reduce its cost. Thermal renewable energy, using solar energy in drying processes in our fertilizer production, and so on. In doing so, of course, we are leveraging a network of partners among the best universities, R&D centers, and companies, partner companies. And one example is the Green Energy Park that was mentioned earlier by our hosts. The Green Energy Park is a joint venture between OCP, University Mohammed VI Polytechnic, and IRISEN. And it's today one of the most advanced, I would say, research center in the continents working on renewable energy development, and especially solar. So we have here 20 research programs today ongoing, and these research programs are, as I said, all aiming at scaling up this technology as quickly as possible in order to meet our objectives. So I will stop here. Thank you for your attention, and of course I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Fali. Thank you, Ilyas. I don't know if Tariq is back with us. Doesn't seem to.
Yes, Mr. Shami, I'm back again. Sorry for.
So you have 2 minutes to conclude.
Okay, perfect.
Presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, I was interrupted by the connection. In order to conclude, I just want to come back to the reference project we are developing in Mazen. It's as I said before, it's an industrial scale project. As you know, all components that are involved in the development of green hydrogen, if we take it separately, are mature. So mainly the power generation, the electrolyzer. So we are targeting to have alkyl electrolyzer here. And the question and the challenge is how to integrate all these components in order to scale up and have an integrated project that are, of course, reliable and also can deliver green hydrogen on competitive ways. And here, where we are working on this project, we as we said before, we have the support of the German government with a interesting loan, and also some support for the financing and the studies of this project. It's a first step, and we believe that Morocco has all ingredients in order to be a leader in this field. And I would be free to respond of any question about this development. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you to the three of you for very interesting, in presentations, in some cases. We have few questions for you. And in fact, I have 4 questions, one to address to each one of you. Of course, if there are some compliments that you would like to bring to the answer, you're welcome. And the last one will be addressed to all of you. I'd rather have you please have some concise answers and short answers, because we are running out of time. But of course, any important information is welcome. So let me start with Dr. Frankel. Doctor, the question is the following: what is the importance of bilateral agreements, i.e. we're thinking about policies, regulations, to jumpstart this Power-to-X development worldwide? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think the importance is very important, is crucial, because we know the technology that we have to use to produce green hydrogen. What we need is a massive scale up. We need to go from the sizes, the largest electrolyzers today is 10 megawatt, and we need to go to the 1 gigawatt scale in 2030. So bilateral projects and this are very important for that. I would add also another aspect that was mentioned by Mr. Lacamera: create industrial social value, create the jobs, make the North Africa and Europe the technology leader in knowledge and innovation. And for that, one is important to create demand, and second, to have these partnerships. So I think the bilateral agreements are fundamentally important.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Ilyas, Tariq, anything to add? Okay. So let me move to the second question. The second question will be addressed to Ilyas Al-Fali. Ilyas, what are the key challenges that faces currently the Power-to-X development, according to you?
Thank you for your question, Mr. Chairman, and my answer would go back also to build on what Mr. Frankel just said. I think the technology is known, but the real challenge here is first competitiveness challenge. So this is why innovation and R&D is key in terms of scaling up, of course, the electrolyzers, but also solving the intermittency issue. And what is interesting here also, and I had the opportunity to mention it in my presentation, is that the solutions in terms of innovations are to a great extent local. They should be adapted also to the context where we are operating, and this is why we need to have local capabilities in terms of R&D. Second challenge for me is a challenge of building a strong ecosystem that supports this ambition. An ecosystem both in terms of dynamic and innovative industry locally, but also in terms of development of skills and preparing the right skills that can support such development.
Thank you, Tariq. And by the way, I was very impressed by all the projects you are currently deploying at the OCP. I mean, to reach the neutrality carbon by 2040, if I remember correctly. So great job.
Thank you.
Any compliments, any addition that Tariq or Dr. Frankel would like to bring to Mr. Al-Fali's answer?
Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, I think we are all aligned that the challenge is the integration of all the components and to dismantle that we can produce in Morocco, thanks to the quality of our resources, green hydrogen on a competitive basis. And for that, I think, as you mentioned, bilateral collaboration, it's very important, and this is what is now implemented in our first project in Mazen. The scale, it's around 100 megawatt, which is an industrial scale. And I think we believe that within this scale, we will show that we can reach a certain competitiveness. But for this also, we need to establish a regulatory framework that push the development of such green generation. And here I think that the government has a role to play in order to support. Of course, we are talking about the new barriers that will be established in Europe in order to enhance the free carbon production. And here I think that there is a great job to be done by a different government, and we have our place in this area. It's very important that we will not consider green hydrogen as a raw material from Morocco, but we should take advantage of the whole add value that can be created in terms of industrialization. And I think we had a good experience with what has been done in the wind area, wind generation, with the manufactories that has been established in Morocco. So here also, if we look at to the capacity that is needed to be developed in order to feed even the local market and the exportation, we are talking about dozens of gigawatts of installed capacity. And here it's, I think, a very important quantity that allow us to have this ambition to develop an industrial ecosystem around this new technology in order to catch the add value and to feed the market with the appropriate product. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tariq. So, Minister Bah, I mean, these messages are addressed to you. Basically, I mean, the many challenges are, you know, and the reach are on your reach. You can just take them out of the way.
I think we have all the ingredients to succeed, Si Ahmed. We have. I think the business climate is favorable for this development. I think we are in well position to have good partnership with many actors in the world, countries, companies, international institutions like IRENA and IA. And we have good actors in Morocco. We have Mazen, ONI, ONIM, and the OCP, I think. But also we have good private sector. They are ready now to launch a lot of projects in renewable energy, and particularly they are ready if there is any incentive to launch some projects in hydrogen. So we have all the ingredients, and soon we will have new dynamism in our energy sector.
Great to hear. Great to hear your optimism, Minister. I mean, these are just very encouraging for all the actors. And as I said in my speech, I mean, government should set the vision, the direction, send signals, and I think you are doing it right now. And so this should, of course, hopefully continue, and we, as a nation, will be successful building this hydrogen economy with our partners, with our international partners, and of course, having this strong ecosystem that is very dear to my heart, as you know. So let me, Dr. Frenkel, anything you would like to add on this question, on this topic? Okay. So let me move to the third question, and this will be addressed to Tariq Haman. Tariq, how can we encourage and fund projects related to PTX technologies? Financing is one of your key strengths and expertise. So help us understand how we can finance, this project, please.
Thank you, Chairman. This is, I think, one of the most challenging points for this new segment is, of course, how to finance the project. And it's relating to the sustainability of the system. Of course, for the first project, we need bilateral cooperation, and we need the intervention of multilateral institution, because first target is to show that we can produce green hydrogen and green power to X within competitive or to be close to the competitive cost. And for that, we need to minimize the cost of the financing of the project. We need also to bring some grants to the first project because we are building a new industry around this area. So we should capture all this flow of financing, cheap financing and subvention in order to support the first project. Once it's done with this optimization of the financing, I think the appetite of the commercial financing will be more present, and we can move to commercial structuration of the project. So basically, for the first project, we need institutional support. We need some subvention because we are, as I mentioned before, building a new technology, a new business model. After few projects, I think the scale-up will be done and established, and there we can, of course, be able to finance using commercial financing. If we look at the cost of an integrated green hydrogen project, basically the power generation will cost about the 2/3. So this will represent the big portion of the financing of the project, and this is mature. So we will not have any problem to finance. The most challenging is the electrolyzer and also depending on the final product. If we need ammonia, Haber-Bosch, or other equipment, and here we need such support from financial institution. And this is what we are doing for this project, the first project, with the German banks, KfW, which we are supporting our project. But I believe that within the next 3 years, we will dismantle that the integration and the scale-up will makes the project profitable. Of course, we have also to secure the offtake, and here also there is a development and a challenge because off-taker also should commit for a long term as a first step before the creation of a liquid market. And we are starting even for this first project discussion with different partners. We have some collaboration with German companies and also Netherlands companies in order to look at to the potential off-takers of our green hydrogen and different products.
Thank you, Tariq. Ilyas, Dr. Frankel, any addition? Yes, Dr. Frankel, please go ahead.
Thank you. What I wanted to add is that, of course, we are in a special situation now due to COVID-19 and the unprecedented impact on the energy systems and on the economies. It is also a unique opportunity to allocate money and to build back in a cleaner way. So it is fundamentally important that this opportunity is taken, and the European New Green Deal and the recovery packages that are coming must include green hydrogen, and there has to be flexibility to allow investment in Morocco, in North Africa, and this hydrogen and this opportunity to be exploited. I think this is a very special situation, but which is also a special opportunity right now. We need to build scale.
Thank you. Yeah, I strongly agree. You are in a violent agreement, Frank, on this. Let me move to the last question, and this one will be addressed to the three panelists. Is the current infrastructure ready for a PTX economy in Europe, in Africa, and between Europe and Africa? Please, Dr. Frankel, the floor is yours.
I think there are all the ingredients for a good starting point. the two continents are interconnected, not only commercially, but also with infrastructures, with grids, with pipelines, and all this, and of course, through shipping. So this is a good starting point, but I want to repeat what I had said in my presentation. What is at stake here is much more, is a leadership in global markets, and therefore also more ambitious plan for expansion should be included.
Thank you very much, Ilyas.
Well, I also agree on the fact that infrastructure, I think here will not be a hurdle to the development, because I think we have what it takes in terms of proximity, in terms also of existing electricity infrastructure, ports, and other things. And I think we have today, with the solutions of the use of methanol, for example, and ammonia, which are, I would say, simple to transport. The logistics are well known, and I mean, they don't require any particular infrastructure that we don't have. So I think really here the issue is not infrastructure. It's rather, I would say, how to operate this big transition in a smooth way, because I mean, of course, as far as the private sector is concerned, it's a matter of competitiveness, and it's a matter of cost. And this is something we should solve both from the private sector initiatives by committing to sustainability and having a long-term vision on these issues, but also through public policy in terms of incentives and visibility on the offtake that could de-risk the projects.
Thank you very much. Tariq?
Yes, thank you very much, Chairman. I think that infrastructure are there in terms of, as you said, in terms of pipelines and electric interconnection. Of course, there is a big challenge in terms of shipping, because right now we know how to ship ammonia or green fuels, but of course, in terms of liquid hydrogen, there is, I mean, still development on this field. But I think that the most challenging now is the business model, because the business model around this sector, which is under reflection, so it should be developed and address the needs of each part and take advantage of the competitive advantage of each country. So basically, we have to define what is the best product to be developed in Morocco and exported. Is it green hydrogen? Is it ammonia? Is it green fuels, cell fuels? Is it electricity? And this is also related to what we said before about the ecosystem and the local content around it. So I think that let's move on with this first project, showing that Morocco is a great place in order to develop green hydrogen and Power-to-X products, and define with our neighbors, our potential clients, what is the best configuration of exporting this product.
Thank you very much, the three of you, for these interesting comments and answers. Before closing, I would like to give back the floor for the final remarks to Minister Bah and Minister Joao Fernandez, if he's still with us. Aziz, the floor is yours, my friend.
Thank you very much. All the reports made at international level by some organization show that Morocco have good opportunities now to attract some investment in hydrogen. but we need to make some distinction between the local market and the international market. I think for the local market, we can launch some pilot project and some R&D project, and we can prepare all the ingredients to launch the big project for phosphate, for fertilization. I think OCP is working on this project, but we need to target the international market. What will happen in hydrogen sector at the international level is like what's happening now in petrol exploration. So I think we need to create all the condition to have all the condition to attract more investment from abroad. We need to sign some strategic partnership with companies, with countries, with organizations, and we need to put Morocco in the best radar for hydrogen. So I think we have strong work to do in the near future to do that, to have our place in the international market. I think we have logistic, we have maritime logistic, we have renewable energy, we have good business climate. Now it's question to, what I can say, to work together, public and private, with our partners in the world to target the international market.
Absolutely, Minister. I strongly agree. I mean, we have all the elements, as you said. Now let's let them work together and also with the outside world. Thank you very much for attending. I would like, before closing, to share with you a dream. I have a dream, in fact. And in fact, it's, I might say it's a green dream. A dream where our citizens breathe pure air, where the citizens pay less for electricity bills, where citizens can move around using cars, electrical cars and buses, electrical buses, where there are no shortage of water because we are desalination is happening. I have a dream where companies are competitive and they are building free carbon products. And in fact, the last piece of the dream is really the new frontier for the EU and African UA or African countries relations. We can really make it happen, and Power-to-X is definitely can be a big ingredient to enable this dream and all these elements of the dream. So again, thank you very much. Thank you to Badr, Iken and Irizen, and to the M6P for organizing this first summit. Hopefully we'll see each other next year again. And I know that the agenda is still long, and I give back the floor to the moderator. Thank you to all of you for attending.
Thank you, Mr. President, for your most effective and smooth chairmanship of this high-level opening. The high-level panel set the scene through country examples, through data, through potential. The high-level opening panel also set the tone through optimism, through this invitation for partnership. The high-level opening panel also set the tone in terms of roadmap, in terms of identifying certain opportunities, priorities, and also linking with the broader recovery effort. And finally, thanks to the chairman, the high-level opening panel also set the dream. I saw Mr. Director General was taking a lot of notes during the high-level panel, and I'm sure you found it particularly interesting, as have around 1,000 participants that took part in this session. Mr. Director General, would you like to share with us your reactions to this high-level opening panel?
Thank you very much, Ayman. I would like then indeed to do this. I would like to thank all the panelists for the clear commitments as well as all the positive messages. I think we note a lot of key messages. The first one is the international collaboration. The second one is R&D, innovation, as well as capacity building, but also the development of industrial hubs, and last but not least, the development of new models for international energy partnerships. I would like again to thank our high-level panelists, Minister Rabah, for the strong commitment, clear commitment. President Chemi, for your support, moderating this panel, and of course, all the representatives from the European Commission, from Germany, from Portugal, and IRENA, and last but not least, IEA. Dr. Frankel, thank you very much for the overview and the presentation about the international current situation. Of course, I would like as well to thank my dear friend and colleague Ilyas El-Feli from OCP, and thank you very much for this sustainable and strong collaboration as well with us. Thank you very much, Tariq Haman from Mazan, presenting the next ambitious reference project. And maybe to end this high-level panel, I would like to say something to President Chemi. President Chemi, we will work together to make your dream happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you indeed. Such a beautiful note to end this high-level opening panel on. We will reconvene in about 5 minutes to discuss a market perspective linked to Power-to-X. So please, at 11:30, make sure to connect again so that you may enjoy very thought-provoking presentations chaired by Mr. Saïd El-Hadi, who's the CEO of Nareva and also the president of the Green Economy Commission at the Moroccan Confederation, the General Confederation of Moroccan Enterprises. Thank you again, and see you in 5 minutes.